So today I'm going to show you how to take an API product that we have published on the API developer portal and embellish it with documentation, get started guides, and even your OpenAPI specs so that any developers who are on your developer portal can easily self-service with common questions and guides and everything that they might need. So we have this API product here on the left called Payment. We can click into it, and you can see there's not a whole lot that's offered currently for the developer, and so we're going to fix that. Under the overview, we have just an API, and we can see the plans. Under API specifications, we don't have one attached, and under Get Started, you can see we have nothing. So as a developer, I don't have any information to know how to consume this API, and so we're going to fix that very easily. So I switch back on over to the admin side of the Tyke Developer Portal, and I can open up this API product. And so in here, we can start to flesh all that out. So we can add a description. We're going to use the Square Payments API as an example. So let's say instead of building it there by hand or however they've done it, we can just use an out-of-the-box solution, which is the Tyke Developer Portal. So let's copy that. Let's say this is our description. The Square provides payment solutions that allow sellers to get paid anytime. We'll paste that in there. And so for the content, let's copy all of this content here and paste that in there as an introduction to our APIs. Great. We can add an image. So let's delete whatever was there, add a new one. We're going to pick that payments one. Okay, perfect. And we'll scroll down up until here under API resource. So now we can fill out the OpenAPI spec. Of course, OpenAPI spec being the de facto way to document your REST APIs today. And so we can add an OAS document if we want to hard code it, or we can give the developer portal the JSON for this specific API that lives with this API product. And the benefit of that being we can just point it at some OAS spec that lives in version control that's automatically updated, and it will always have the latest and greatest version, and dump that in there. And then finally, we can add API documentation. This is the Get Started bit here. So let's go back on over to the Stripe. Let's say we want to click in here. Sure, take payments. Let's explain how we take payments. So we'll just copy all of this here. Let's say up until there, that's fine. So we'll call this take payments. We'll keep the status as published and paste that in there. Great. You can see it respects all of my markdown. It preserves my links and so on. Add API documentation. Let's take another one. Troubleshooting. Sure. So we'll take the troubleshooting guide here, and we'll call this troubleshooting, and paste that in there, and then we'll hit save. Cool. So now we can go back to our catalog, and now we can see our payments API is a lot nicer to look at. It's got a nice image. It has a description, and now it has documentation. So let's click into that. It takes us right to the documentation for that API. That's nice and wonderful. Alternatively, we can click on more info, and now here we are. We have the overview. We can add some CSS in the admin side here to style this, perhaps left align it. Right, and so there's our API now. We can click into that, and that will take us to the documentation. Alternatively, we can go up here and click on API specification, and now we have built right in, we have this playground, OAS playground, that we can use to discover the various API endpoints and schemas for this API product. And we can even send API requests. We can generate functions and helpers for all sorts of different languages. And then finally, we can go on the Get Started, and you can see just by pasting some content in there, we've automatically started to build out our API documentation. So it's very, very easy to take an API product that you have on the Tyke Developer Portal and embellish it with documentation, Get Started guides, OpenAPI specs, and so on in order to make the journey for your API consumers a lot easier. Thanks for watching.